started because I think we've got a nice crowd. So thank you all for joining us this afternoon. This is Lori Christou. I am the Senior Vice President of Strategic Marketing and Communications, and we appreciate you joining us for a bit of an impromptu press conference. We're here today because I'm sure you all saw the exciting news on Monday, and we wanted to give you all the opportunity to ask Adam and Cindy questions firsthand. So basically the way that we'll approach this is I'll throw it over to Adam. I think Cindy's going to say a few words, but then we will open it up for some Q&A. So hoping to give you the opportunity to ask those questions that you have. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Adam Goldstein, who is not only the Global CLIA Chair, but also the President and COO of Royal Caribbean Cruises Limited. Adam?
So, are we on here?
Yeah, I think it goes on automatically.
All right, well, let us hope. So, good afternoon, everybody. If you were at the opening session yesterday, you could probably surmise that I felt greatly time challenged to make this very nice announcement about Cindy's promotion because we had a very busy program and I didn't want to take up any more time than was necessary to deliver the good news. So today I don't feel encumbered in this way at all, so I'm going to take the next like 2 or 3 hours to take you through Cindy's background in granular detail, and then we'll go from there. First of all, I have nice notes up here about Cindy's background, especially with Meeting Planners International. She has 20 years in the meetings and hospitalities business, a wonderful experience. Now that explains primarily why she was asked to work for CLIA in the first place, which started, I think, in December of 2014, if I've got that right.
You do?
She was with Marriage Travel for a long time as well, which is a powerhouse in the industry, and then Max Vantage, which I actually don't know so much about, but maybe you could explain that to me sometime. So we were very pleased when Cindy joined the organization in the first place, but of course, it's, I think, more germane to today's event and the announcement that I made yesterday, that the reason why Cindy has been promoted to the permanent president and CEO of CLIA is because of the great work that she's done, especially in the last 7 months where she's been the acting CEO, but really since the day that she started at the organization in late 2014. She has many attributes, I must say, and she and I obviously are speaking a lot because it's a busy world of cruising. CLIA as an organization has a busy agenda. There's lots of things going on at all times within the membership, with the executive partners, with the travel agents with whom we work, with the destinations and ports around the world, the suppliers, a lot of people that are all over the trade show floor down there and also up there. So there's a lot for us to talk about, and what I can tell you is that Cindy, the word I like, I don't know that I've said this to her, but the word that I like to use to describe Cindy is she's unafraid. She's really prepared to wade in and do whatever is the right thing that needs to be done, whether it's working or giving feedback to her staff, the team at CLIA, whether it's talking to any of the various relationships, the different kinds of relationships that we have that I just mentioned, whether it's running the board meeting of CLIA, which she did the other day, and so on and so forth. She's very interested in the global aspect of CLIA, which is one of the really crucial elements of what we're trying to achieve as an industry association in these days. It's been a few years now since our original decision to take what was like a dozen or maybe even 14 cruise associations and combine them into one global CLIA. We still continue to work down that path. She's been absolutely instrumental in the last 7 or 8 months to make sure that we're still having forward progress on that path. So whatever the aspect of CLIA is that we have asked Cindy to help us move forward on, she has been absolutely unafraid and successful in helping us do that. So there has been a competition in these months for the opportunity to be the permanent president and CEO, and the Global Executive Committee of CLIA and the board of directors, generally speaking, is very pleased that Cindy has won that competition and that she was able to demonstrate on a day-to-day basis her capabilities that would lead to such a result. So I'm really happy for the organization, for her team, for her, and happy to have the opportunity to be here to talk about it today. And I guess, Cindy, it would be a good thing probably if you said a few words now.
I guess my first few words are thank you, Adam.
Very welcome.
Probably not surprising. It's really difficult to put into words how honored I am to be given the responsibility and the vote of confidence by the leaders. You know, people have asked about the length of the process, and for me, my response is I'm glad they took their time for two reasons. One, it did give me the opportunity to experience what the role was, and at this point in my career, did I really know what it was, and did I really want it? And you know, those are important questions for you. And for me, I learned that not only did I want it, I felt that I could do a very good job. And I think for our leaders, anytime there's a change in leadership, you take the opportunity to really step back and look as the association has grown. What are we looking for in a candidate? Are we looking for the same type of profile that we've had in the past? Or as we look forward in what we're going to do with the association, really what are the skills and the attributes we're looking for? So I think it was a wonderful process. I'm happy that it's at its end. My team, there are some decisions that I won't say we've been holding because we've had such great support from our leaders that we've moved forward, but we are at a place where we needed to know whether we were gonna have a different leader who might have a slightly different vision or direction, or whether we were gonna move forward. So we're very, very happy early in the year that we're gonna continue the progress that we're on. So thank you, Adam, to you and to the leaders for not only the support, and if I could just say publicly, I could not have had a better mentor or leader as my chairman during this year. It was a year of change in many ways that none of us anticipated, not only for the industry, but for us personally at the association. And every step of the way, you trusted me, you pushed me, you questioned me in all the appropriate ways, and you also recognized my successes and our opportunities, so thank you very much.
Thank you. And just to kind of build on this love moment, I have to say that from a CLIA perspective, Cindy and I joined around the same time. The support that we all have for this, all the leaders, all the staff around the globe are so thrilled with this decision. So we thank you, Adam, and the GEC for making this decision, because I think we're in a great place and we're looking forward to move forward ahead. So with that, I'm happy to open it to any questions that you all may have for either Adam or Cindy. So any questions? Right here with the red? Yeah, the red shirt, yes. Oh, and there's Mike. Thank you, Sarah.
Michelle Whithouse, International Cruise and Ferry Review. What more can you tell us about your new strategy for media and communications after the announcement of your partnership with the FCCA in that regard, and how big is that likely to get, and what kinds of media developments will we expect to see perhaps in the coming years?
Want me to take it? So I'll start, and my colleagues here can jump in if they'd like. This is still a very new expansion of our relationship. So what we've decided to do is take this one project, make sure we do it successfully, and then build upon it. We're sister organizations that have the same members that are really focused on the same goal. So the first step is to make sure that when we take the magazine and we take it to a global magazine, that it's delivering value to our members. One of the things you're gonna hear me continue to speak about is enhancing member value. We always have to come back to that as our priority. So we don't wanna just do a bunch of projects. We wanna do things that really are a value add. So we don't have the long-term plan. It's an excellent question, and if you keep it and allow me to as we progress, I can answer that better. But today it is to make sure that we engage our members as we build it out, so that we're not designing something that may not be meaningful. But what we've agreed to do is really look across our global community and find a way to better unify the industry.
Any other questions?
Hi Cindy, Tom Steekhorst from Travel Weekly.
Hi.
First off, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations on convincing Adam that you were the right person for the job. One of the needs that emerged after the Costa Concordia was for someone in the cruise industry to be the authoritative central voice for the industry in a crisis. And I wonder what in your background prepares you for that job if it should come about.
Great question. I'm going to speak to, I think, a little bit different. I'm going to start out differently and come back to that if I can. If I describe this industry, CLIA was actually formed at that time because there was such a collective need to have one industry and one voice and come together in a moment of crisis. But we also recognized as leaders that there would be an advantage to our industry and to our community if we actually stayed together, set standards around the world as one entity. And I think that's the challenge that we continue to talk to is it's very easy to see in a crisis situation the benefit of coming together and working together. The real opportunity though is when it's moments of peace and not crisis, how do you stay focused? How do you continue to work together in a way that you are delivering greater value? Because then your day-to-day business takes a priority and we need to make sure that we are continuing to drive forward. So what in my background enables me to do that? Adam mentioned that I had worked for an organization called Max Vantage, that he wasn't sure what that was. So now we'll take this opportunity to talk about that. Max Vantage was never an organization. It was an alliance between two very major organizations, Merritt's Travel Company and American Express. Neither owned nor was it a joint venture of this alliance. And Christine Duffy actually was the brainchild of this alliance, and it was to bring two giants together to dramatically drive the industry forward in the area of meetings and events. So my responsibility was to manage a global team that didn't work for me, and our entire mission was to drive forward on behalf of the industry. So it is the skill set that you develop in learning how to work with people around the world in very different roles with very different agendas to understand that you have a common goal and priority and how do you work towards it. So for me, it's not dissimilar when you look at the work that we're doing today. We bring people together from around the world, very different agendas, very different positions, very different roles and expertise. How do you leverage that so that we have a common goal that we're working towards?
Thank you. Susan?
Building a little on what Tom had asked, I know that the last gentleman that was in the position obviously had a very strong maritime operational background. He admitted he didn't know that much about the trade, and obviously that was your big specialty, and he was looking forward to learning a lot about that from you. What are you doing on the operational side? Maritime, the regulatory part of this is huge in terms of the industry, and particularly when we get into any kind of issues and incidents where they call congressional hearings. Have you had experience in that, or how are you going to come up to speed on that? Just some of the things you're looking at, or you're taking steps to?
Great question. I think any leader that steps into a position is going to bring with them strengths and areas that, are an opportunity for development. And certainly this was an area that I recognized very clearly, as did our leaders. So we talked about that and what is the development plan. I will say that I'm surrounded by expertise in all markets. And I think the best leaders are the people that bring out and leverage the talent that they have. What we are doing, where we had leadership in these functional areas that were also more regional in their responsibility, we're identifying global experts in these areas, and obviously they work with me, I work with my leaders, but the great news is that's not the sole specialty that we needed. We needed someone that could take all of these different areas of expertise and resource and bring them together for the best benefit of the industry.
If I could just add on to that, I think all you need to do is spend a half a day at walking the trade show floor, and you can see that the complexity of this business is beyond any one human being. Even those of us who have decades in the business and have a real passion for it, there's just so much happening in this. This business is the composite of so many industries. So no matter who you are, the best thing you can have going for you is a sort of endless, insatiable curiosity for how it all works. And so you bring a certain background, Cindy brings a certain background, but then you have to augment that by sort of looking in every nook and cranny of the business to see what you can learn, to understand what the issues are, to leverage the expertise that exists, which is something that I think that she does very well. So she has a great foundation on which to build her further leadership, and I'm sure she will demonstrate this passion and curiosity as we go forward.
And if I could, not to belabor this, but it is such an important part of this role. It was actually one of the key areas that made this attractive to me. You know, at a point in your career, you've mastered quite a few things. This was, for me, something that made it so exciting. I have the opportunity to continue to use the skills I have, but to learn and to build greater strength. And so that's part of what attracted me to this opportunity.
Thank you. Any further questions? You guys must have covered it all. Well, great. Well, thank you all again for joining us. I know that the press release, which was also available on Monday, is also available to you here. So thanks again for coming. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.